Welcome to FilmIn5D, the show that has been connected with everything film and the 5D Mark II. As always, I'm your host, Aaron Hammock. This week, we pit the 7D against my 5D Mark II. So, did you have a good Christmas?
Relatively.
Relatively.
Yes, compared to my last Christmas.
Huh. I had a great Christmas. Got a new iPhone, GoPro.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's nice. So last week I did a review on the 7D in which I talked about both its video and photo capabilities. However, this week we'll be focusing mostly on comparing the video side between the 7D and the 5D. As I stated last week, the video quality of the 7D is basically the same as the other low-end Canon DSLRs, the T2i, T3i, and 60D. Therefore, this comparison to the 5D in terms of video capabilities relates to all four of the cheaper Canon DSLRs. So before we talk about the specifics, we have a sketch for you that we shot using both the 5D and the 7D. Therefore, we thought up a challenge for our viewers.
You are so clever.
Why?
I don't know, like the little challenge thing. I thought it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if anybody can crack the beast. Crack the magician.
It's like Da Vinci Code, man.
Yeah. The first YouTuber who can correctly guess which camera you use for the different shots, in order, will get a shout out on next week's episode. Just leave a comment below, and only one guess per account. Good luck.
You know what I noticed? YouTuber rhymes with goober.
Kind of. What made you think of that?
I don't know, it just sounded kind of funny saying YouTuber.
Yeah. By the way, you cannot do the challenge.
Can't believe I have to walk all the way just to grab some milk. But I suppose you can't exactly have cereal without milk. I wonder what it would taste like with water. Jeez, can that guy get any louder?
Jacket, bro!
Yeah?
Yo, bro, how's it going, man?
Fine, I guess.
Dude, bro, did you see the game last night?
Game?
Yo, Chargers, man!
Oh. yeah, I saw that. Pretty good.
It was good? Dude, what happened?
Actually, it was pretty good. We were behind in the fourth quarter until we came from behind and made this really clutch play. Hey, what? Hey, help me! Get him off here!
I'm not helping anyone today. Except for my partner.
I am a rational human being with rights, and I want to know what the heck is going on. Wait, what does that have to do with anything?
Football investigator, punk. This ain't no federal junk. This is the real deal. By giving my partner an unauthorized account of the game, you got yourself in some deep trouble, boy.
You're serious? This is a joke, right?
This is the real deal. Nobody messes with football.
Look, I'm not saying one more thing until I get a lawyer, because this whole thing is ridiculous. Screw you, screw this football, screw the FBI, screw this whole establishment. I
Yeah,
have a wife and kids.
told him
I'm
everything.
gonna have you all arrested.
How long? Are you sure about that?
Where am I?
Mr.
You
Madden,
can at least tell me that.
I'll see to
What's
it.
happening? What happens in this country?
Are you finished? Look, guy. Hey, wait a second, guys. Isn't this supposed to be a Christmas episode?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, give him that hat.
Yeah, here.
Here you go. Awesome.
There you go. And action.
Look, guy. You know that whole good cop, bad cop shtick? Well, I'm the good cop and the bad cop. You gotta cool your heels there, Buster. I'll give you a what for. Alright, I'll just step out and let you cool down. And I'll tell you what, I'll even see about getting you this lawyer. How's that sound? People these days think they can do anything they want. Makes me sick. Take it away, partner.
You'll never violate NFL copyright laws again. I'm just getting started with you, boy.
And we're back. So if you're totally stumped, we'll give you a hint near the end of this episode. But right now we're going to compare the 7D versus the 5D. First, let's compare the sensors of these two cameras, which is truly where they differ. The Canon 7D sports a 22.3 by 14.9mm APS-C sensor, and the 5D Mark II has a full-frame 35.8 by 23.9mm sensor. The difference you get with the size of these two sensors affects primarily three things: low light capabilities, depth of field, and frame size. Here we have a low light comparison between these two cameras. Both are set to an ISO of 3200 with an f-stop of 1.4. As you can see, the 5D handles the noise much better than the 7D, which wasn't really surprising. This was actually the test that, in my opinion, showed the biggest difference between these two cameras. The 5D performs very well in low light, especially with ISOs above 1600. Here you can see a difference in the shallow depth of field capabilities between these two cameras. While it looks like the 7D is shallower, this is actually because the cross frame sensor turns the 50mm lens into an 85mm frame, thus giving it a more hairpin depth of field. Of course, it would have been better to use a 30 to 35mm lens on the 7D to compare these two cameras at a 50mm frame, but I only own so many lenses. Just take my word for it that, at the same frame size, the 5D will be more shallow.
I'll take your word.
Thank you. Here we have a comparison between the frame sizes of both cameras. You can see the 5D sensor gives a much wider view, while the 7D is much more telephoto. This is important to understand, because if you're shooting indoors a lot, a camera like the 7D will make it more difficult and you'll run out of room real fast. In fact, if you choose a crop frame camera over the 5D, you're going to want to go with some wider lenses like a 35mm prime to emulate a 50mm frame, for instance. However, using a crop frame camera does have its advantages. If you take a look at these images here, you can see that the 7D can get way closer, which is great for photography. The 5D takes stills at 21 megapixels and the 7D takes stills at around 18 megapixels. You can see a size comparison between these two resolutions here. The 21 megapixel image from the 5D is slightly larger. This is significant because when Canon DSLRs shoot video, they downgraded the resolution to about 2 megapixels, and the result is line skipping, also known as aliasing, which we talked about in this episode. Here we see an example of aliasing in both cameras, but in my opinion, it is much worse in the 5D footage. This is because the 5D has to lower the resolution in camera by a much bigger factor, from 21 megapixels all the way down to 2 megapixels. Another thing that favors the 7D during video is rolling shutter, and while this issue has some workarounds, which we showed you in this episode, the smaller sensor on the 7D makes the gel effect easier to avoid. You can see here that the 7D still has a good amount of rolling shutter, but it's not nearly as bad in my opinion as the 5D. Also, the 7D has 60 frames per second at 720p, giving you some nice slow motion. The 5D has failed thus far to support 60 frames per second video, which remains one of the nice features on the lower end DSLRs. Both cameras definitely have their advantages and disadvantages, but the one thing that stood out to me was the low light capabilities of the 5D. As an independent filmmaker, to me how the 5D performs in minimal lighting conditions is paramount. It's not always easy to get the perfect lighting setup, especially when you're shooting on location, which is ultimately why I went with the 5D as my camera of choice. But that's it for this week. We hope you had a wonderful Christmas yesterday and a festive holiday season. As always, you can send your questions to me via @mentions on twitter.com/hammock. Follow us on Twitter at FilmIn5D, and like our Facebook page at this link here. We'll be back next week with our end of the year special.
Wait, what about that hint?
What hint?
For the video. The contest thing?
I don't want to say. We don't need a hint.
Really?
You want to give them the hint?
Switches a lot?
What? It switches a lot? We're supposed to give them like a number of how many times it switches. Okay, fine. 9. 9 is the number. So we start on the same camera that we end with. So we switch cameras 9 times. There you go. Good luck.
I am a rational human being with rights, and I demand to...
Oh man. Alright. And action.
I am a